Okay. Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is... Oh, hold on. There was me for a second. Wasn't supposed to be me yet. Hey, what's up? It's Jim. It's Movie Crap. It's been interesting technical... Oh, I can hear myself? Anyway. Yeah, so we are live. Had a bit of all sorts of kind of technical nonsense at the beginning, but we are here. Thank you very much for being here on Movie Crap. Oh, and Ransom Film had a good day on his first job. Thank you. Thank you for being here and congrats. Yeah, so this is Movie Crap Live. We are a week away from the Oscars, all that stuff. Oh, a lot of people in the chat. People seem to like Dolittle butt stuff, which is actually not inaccurate, which makes this even crazier since there's new reports of Dolittle. I'm just getting all set up here for everything. Lots of kind of interesting, important news. I'm sorry, Zane Powers, that you are having technical nonsense as well. Oh, cool. I was exactly on time. I'm glad that, 5 minutes after my warning. But anyway, hello and welcome to Movie Crap. Before we get into it, I'm going to have some water. Apparently it's Super Bowl weekend. I just learned that one. My dad work on Beast Wars? I didn't know that. What? Ryan, I'm not reading that. All right. I didn't know there was a new Gorilla song. I would have listened to that had I known that. I didn't know that. Anyway, this is Movie Crap Live. It is my live streaming movie news show. And sorry, let me get rid of that. And this is completely, pretty much fan funded. So if you'd like to support my channel or support what I do, either go to the Patreon or you can leave a super chat. Both are very much appreciated, and I thank you very much for doing so. If you are watching this not live, and you're watching this later, and you're only watching this for a certain story, go down to the links in the description. They will be timestamp links down there, and you can just do that, or find the time code and so forth. I really do it for as much of them as I can. I think that's everything. I'm happy to be here, and sorry, this is a weird beginning, but let's get into it. And this is kind of going to be a lot about oh, Zoidberg, nice to see you here. This is going to be a lot about kind of animation and Ransom Film, first super chat of the night. But thank you for the $1 super chat there. Cheers to you. But tonight, especially at the beginning, is going to be a lot about animation and distribution and kind of how that's changing, because there's been a lot of things over the past week that bring that up. And I'm actually going to do one of my Patreon questions earlier from Will, because it actually has something to do with that. If you ask me a Patreon question and it has something to do with what I'm talking about, I'm not just going to re-talk about it at the end. That'd be weird. So Ace the Wind Rider, sorry guys, I'm filming my cousin's quinceañera, so I'm busy tonight. That's funny. I feel like that's true. Hello, Lauren Jones. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you were here. Thank you for being here. All right, so if you didn't hear, the Annie Awards, which I was talking about last week, it was happening during last week's show, but Netflix won 19 awards, and it won both of the feature award. It won Best Show, it won Best Writing, Best Show for BoJack, it won Best Independent Animated Film for I Lost My Body, it won Best Feature for Klaus. It basically dominated the Annies, which is basically the animation awards of award season. And I think what this really spells for what's going I think what this really spells for what's going on with animation is the power that Netflix has. And I've talked before about how G-Kids, who formerly would get like 1 to 2 Oscar nominations in Best Animated Feature, were dominating, kind of showing different kinds of animation. But G-Kids was never really that great of a distributor. They were discovering things and making things more prominent, but they would always like put it in a small bunch of art theaters or do these one-night things. And like Murai had an Oscar nomination. It barely came out. Like I didn't know anyone who really saw it. And it was always kind of an issue because I even tried to reach out to them. I was like, I would love to cover your movies, and they like won't talk to anyone. And they were just hard to work around because they'd show, you know, it's a one-night thing. It's at like 7 o'clock. I could never work that out. And Netflix has kind of taken that on and realizing, like, if you give interesting and different animation actual good distribution, which is by releasing it just on Netflix, people will actually watch it and seek it out if they have more availability. And having it on Netflix, obviously, is unlimited availability. But I thought BoJack won Best Animated Show. Didn't it? I thought it did. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, this isn't really about who won the TV show. But Ryan, please tell me which one did win. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken on that. But basically, what Netflix is doing is how it's smart about animation is it's becoming a major studio. It has 2 Best Animated Feature Oscar nominations this year. It's going to be kind of dominating animated features. They have a Glenn Keane film coming out next year. They have the Shaun the Sheep sequel. I mean, it's guaranteed they're going to have at least one this year. And they've been trying to do different animation for a while. But the difference between them and like a DreamWorks or a Disney or a Pixar is that they are not, you know, they're not doing an in-house animation studio. They're buying left and right. So if, let's say, Klaus is really popular and that studio is popular with them, they can also do a different studio at the same time. They're pretty much like a TV network. And a TV network doesn't necessarily need to have its own style. And that's how they're operating, except they're operating with movies. And so, unlike Disney, who would never in a million years do you know, a different animation style as one of their films, or Pixar or DreamWorks or Illumination, Netflix can have a different style of animation every year. In fact, every month, every day if they wanted, but that seems excessive. But you know what I mean. And I think that's going to change the landscape, whereas G-Kids previously had all these different kinds of animation and we're not fully releasing it. And Netflix has just kind of taken this on. I've been talking about this before, but I think with the Annies, it's showing like the tide has changed. Like G-Kids got no Oscar nominations. I don't think they got any Annies. I will do Fast and Furious Vitor, don't worry. They basically completely changed the game. And I think more people should be talking about how they basically took G-Kids out. Like they're gone. That's not happening anymore. We're done with that. We're on to Netflix now. And with the Glenn Keane thing, that is going to be a big deal. He's a big time, I guess I meant general audience show, Ryan. Ryan brought up that BoJack won general audience. I just said best show, but there are other shows like Mickey Mouse and Ask the Story About that won other TV categories. Thank you for specifying, Ryan. But I think we really this is an interesting time for Netflix. They also this year or this week, signed a deal for several years with Titmouse, who signed a deal with Netflix. They're currently making a Big Mouth, which I didn't realize they were into that. And then they're also doing the upcoming Pemberton Ward show, The Midnight Gospel. This is good. It didn't mention any movies, which I find a little disheartening. They did do Nerdland a couple years ago, which didn't seem to really take off. I wish it had. That would have been cool. Nerdland was actually pretty cool. I kind of wish they were doing something with them, but it seems like they're just doing shows, but it's good for them. But it seems like, again, like Netflix is just buying up all these smaller animation studios or making deals with them so that they are okay. Sorry, this was kind of more of an industry. Maybe I shouldn't have gone so hardcore industry at the beginning. Let's do something. Maybe I'll just keep going. But anyway, yeah, Titmouse is going to be with Netflix from now on. Now, moving on to, do I see Pendleton? Whatever. You know what I mean, Ryan. P. Ward, the guy who made Adventure Time. I keep doing that. I don't know why I do that. So Laika, this kind of goes into another animation distribution thing at the beginning here. I hope, anyway. Laika did an interview, but or one of the guys from Laika did an interview for Missing Link for the for your consideration kind of things with Collider that's doing a bunch of those, and they're basically talking about how it's really hard to release a stop motion animated film. I did think Missing Link had a bad release date. That was not a good release date. It really wasn't. It was between like Dumbo and Shazam and Endgame, and if it had come out in like September or something, it would have had a better box office. But it seems like is even admitting, much like how Aardman's done a deal with Netflix, and Laika, it seems like they're probably going to go with a streaming service at some point, because no, thank you. Jordan Bushart did tell me about the Laika thing, so thank you for bringing that up. But it is a thing, because a couple of years ago, I think earlier in the decade, in the 2010s, it felt like stop motion was getting lots of chances on the big screen, and those chances have completely dried up by 2020. And so it seems like it's still going to exist, but it is not going to exist on the big screen. So if there's ever a stop motion thing, Will actually asked me a question which relates to this, which he said, considering Missing Link's terrible box office returns and the incredible underwhelming release of The Tower, which not enough people are discussing about, wonderful film, which I didn't know about till he wrote this to me, is stop motion animation finally just about lost modern audiences' interest, or is there something else entirely that's going on? Again, I mentioned the quiet VOD release for Tower. Looks like Henry Selick's long-awaited Wendell and Wild will be dropping to Netflix in early 2021. Maybe that could rejuvenate some people's attentiveness for the art form, hopefully. But yeah, I think it's just going to go streaming, because I don't think anyone wants these to go away, and it seems like the industry doesn't. But it feels like that's what's happening, because there's there's just not the box office support for it. And I think it's also, Missing Link was sort of a weird movie, but they don't want to do Disney stuff. Stop motion seems like they want to do different things. And it seems like Laika and Aardman, at least, are trying to find better deals. And if The Tower was on Netflix, I probably would have watched it. But because it's on VOD, I've never heard of this Tower film, but maybe, I don't think Will's in the chat right now. But yeah, it's interesting, because stop motion, it looks like, will fall into that Netflix thing that everything else in animation really is, that I was talking about, because they will get promoted through those things. They will get the screens. They will get actual distribution, because it doesn't seem like anyone's actually going to pay $15 or however much it is where you live to see a stop motion animated film. Okay, sorry. This is, maybe I shouldn't have led with this. All right, let's talk about. I'm sorry, my cat's being annoying. Oh, Will's there. I might have to get up and deal with him shortly. So let's talk about Beast Wars. This is an interesting story, because it kind of started out with Hollywood Reporter and Variety talking about how there are two different scripts being developed. I'm going to have to... Is he going to stop? I don't know. Okay. Hollywood Reporter and Variety talked about how there's two different scripts being developed for two different movies in the Transformers cinematic universe. One of which is sort of a Bumblebee thing, and the other is Beast Wars. Now, there are two writers doing this. One is James Vanderbilt, who wrote the Adam Sandler movie Murder Mystery, and also wrote Zodiac. And he's doing Beast Wars, which I think... I'm not really sure what to think of James Vanderbilt, because like Zodiac, one of the best movies of the previous decade, the 2000s. But then an Adam Sandler movie, I don't what? Because I heard there was one person who wrote an Adam Sandler movie, and I didn't think it was the Zodiac guy, but it is. That's weird. And he's doing the Beast Wars movie, supposedly. It is from Deadline. Who reported who are a major trade. So I think that's probably true. All this is earlier in development, so who knows if they will actually continue to make a Beast Wars movie. Maybe they'll pursue it and go, this sucks, we're not going to do that. The other one, which is by Joby Harold, who executive produced John Wick 3 and stuff like that, he is writing a Bumblebee spin-off, or a movie in the Bumblebee universe, whatever that means. So basically a Bumblebee spin-off, not officially a sequel, but in which to me isn't that the Transformers universe? But these are sort of their reboot ideas. We do something different with Transformers. Is Beast Wars and a follow up to Bumblebee. Previously, they did kind of a big writers' room in for Transformers, and they did sort of a writers' room for Transformers, and then they actually came up with Bumblebee. I wonder if they do that again. Ransam Film has a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Favorite TV show of all time, live action and animated? That's a really big question. I'm not sure if I can fully answer it. I do quite like The Simpsons and Batman the Animated Series, and All in the Family is a favorite of mine. I would put that high up there. Let's just go with those. I'd say I'm not really good at. I don't have a default favorite thing. I guess Mystery Science Theater, probably something like that. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much for the super chat, Ransam Film. But yes, it seems like they're doing usually what they do with Transformers is they sort of develop it like TV properties. It seems like that's what they're doing. But it is interesting. Beast Wars is something they're doing. It seems to be more of a rumor and it's not official. I think everyone freaked out. But it's also cool because they haven't really developed a Transformers movie that's really based on the cartoon. It's sort of like loosely and all that. They've never like been like, this is a specific animated version of Transformers and we're going to make a movie out of it. And that is like super cool. I think that's really what we need. What we need from Transformers, because that was one of the things I liked about Bumblebee, was not only that it was like a good movie, it was like it would reference, oh, whoa, hold on, it would reference things from Transformers the movie and everything like that. I have two super chats here. One from Niju Kichu. Fun fact: the budget of The Disaster Artist, $10 million, is almost double of the budget that Tommy was so spent out of pocket on The Room. The Room cost $6 million. Wow. Okay. Hey Jim, if you could redistribute any film with an Odorama card, what would it be? That's a good. Hold on, before I answer that, that is a good. That's an interesting fun. That's a good fun fact. Cheers to you, Niju Kichu. From William Elman. Again, I'll read it again. Sorry, because I didn't give it proper respect. Thank you again for the super chat. If you could redistribute any film with an Odorama card, what would it be? Odorama, I have it. My parents have the original Odorama cards, actually, from polyester, so I have a long history with Odorama cards, which is basically a scratch and sniff card that Rugrats ripped off, and then John Waters couldn't sue. That's the whole thing. If it was going to be... Right now, I'm immediately thinking of Spring Breakers for some reason, which sounds disgusting. I would want something disgusting. I don't want, like, a pleasant-smelling movie. If I did, I'd pick, like, The Intern, but with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. But I would say either, or Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems with an Odorama card, that sounds awful. Oh, Izzy's here. Hey, Izzy. You notice, Izzy, you haven't been on the pod? Oh! That's true. Huh. That's cool. Anyway. Oh yeah, I did hear you got to meet Quentin, Izzy. That's cool. Izzy's right. This is Izzy right here. There's Izzy. Okay. Thank you for being here, Izzy. I'm glad you're here for Beast Wars. But yeah, the Beast Wars news, just take it with a grain of salt, because it is real news, because it's Deadline. Deadline's a very good trade publication. They're solid. You can absolutely trust them, and they're probably right that it is at least being discussed. But the fact of the matter is it doesn't sound like these scripts are like maybe even finished, so they might not, and we don't know like how good it's going to be and all that stuff. So like no one's sure, and this screenwriter is so... You know, I know people say they like, sorry, I just threw my phone there. I know people have said, I forgot what I was going to say there. But I think, I know people said this is going to happen, but we'll see. But it seems like they're doing at least interesting things with the Transformers franchise. I would take that from this news, but I'm not 100% if they're really, they don't have directors attached to this. They don't have release dates. But this is just what they're considering. And I think, as someone who grew up liking Transformers, and I did watch Beast Wars, it's been a long time, and I remember liking it, I think it would be cool, and especially because think of all the attention they got for bringing the Dinobots in, which is interesting for me to talk about that considering Knock Force. Anyway, yes. Now, moving on to other stuff. I see that, although this is something that's on Disney Plus. Oh, hold on. Before I get into that, fun fact, the new cover of In the Pines for the film Rhythm section and a Gloria Estefan's hit Rhythm Is Gonna Get You are in the exact same key. That's interesting. Cheers to you, Sinram. Nice to see you here. Thank you for the support. I didn't see the Rhythm section. I'm sort of curious about it because it is a female spy movie from Eon who do the James Bond movies. So it's basically like, if people are calling it like, if there was a female James Bond, this is what it would be. But with Blake Lively, I hear she's quite good. I haven't seen it though. I don't know if I will get to. Austin also gave me a super chat saying, call it Beasties. You want me to call Beast Wars Beasties? Is that like a fan thing? Is that a fan thing to call it Beasties? I didn't know that. Okay, why not? Cheers to you. Okay, so there's a thing called the Short Circuit trailer. There are these shorts that are made by Disney, not Pixar, that are on Disney Plus. The difference, I have not gotten to watch these. These are considered experimental, although I will talk about Lamp Life later in the show. It's interesting that Disney is actually trying to do different things with animation. I'm sort of noticing with these streaming services, and like I talked about earlier, with Netflix and all that stuff, is people are getting weirder with animation on streaming services because financially they don't have as much to lose. They can be like, well, let's do this kind of weirder stuff. We can put it out and, get some nice attention and, develop talent and things like that. So it's cool that Disney Animation is making these shorts. Disney Animation only really does the shorts that like play before the movies and do the Mickey Mouse show, which is a different thing. So I'm kind of glad that they're doing that. I haven't gotten to check them out, but they are there. I kind of am like, kudos to you guys for doing it. I wanted to read, so John Musker and Ron Clements, who, I'm going to be honest, should get a lot more credit for being two of the most prolific and greatest filmmakers of the 90s and probably the best of the Disney Renaissance. They did both Aladdin and Little Mermaid, as well as Moana, as well as Princess and the Frog, which is like, plays in my apartment quite a lot. They're great. They're really two of the best animation directors possibly of all time. They had some quotes that I wanted to read that they didn't really like the shot-for-shot. I don't really think they're shot-for-shot remakes. Will has seen some of the the shorts that I was just talking about, and he's telling us in a super chat that Zenith was my favorite of these shorts. Very Fantasia-esque. I will have to check those out. I'll watch that one first, maybe. I was thinking of maybe I'll review those at some point, maybe some of the shorts that are on Disney Plus, because they're interesting. But thank you very much for the super chat, Will. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to read these quotes because I think they're kind of the masters of Disney. They're two of the best directors Disney as a company has ever had, and I really do mean that. So I wanted to read them because I think they deserve to be heard. I love to see new techniques being explored in animation. I also like the idea that the medium has enough elasticity and potential that there are many types of stories that have yet to be done in animation, and I'm hoping in the coming years they will be. I am bemused by by the live-action remakes, although the more successful ones to me are the ones that ironically reinterpret the source to a greater degree, like Maleficent. Oh, I don't like that. Maybe I should have read the first one. Zane Powers, let me just finish the quote and I'll get to it. But thank you for the super chat. I think Jon Favreau's a brilliant filmmaker, but the shot-for-shot fatality to the hand-drawn Lion King, as well as the inexpressive animation in his film, left me uninvolved. In general, I'd rather see more original content, and fairy tales, particularly by their nature, don't seem to accommodate or demand the extension or reputation of their self-contained narrative arcs. But Frozen 2 made more than $2 billion, so what the heck do I know? That's interesting. I kind of don't. Yeah, I'm glad that they're at least saying something. I know they're retired, so they could not. Or one of them is. I forget which one. But I'm glad they at least said something. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have read that. Whatever. Fun fact from Zane Powers. Fun fact, when Matt Groening created Grandpa Simpson, he didn't want to name him Abraham since his real grandfather was named that. See rest below. Okay, hold on. He named the main cast after his family and thought it'd be too far doing it with his grandfather, so let the writer of the episode Old Money choose it, and by coincidence he named him Abraham. That's funny. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. That is funny. That's funny. Zane Powers. Okay, right before I go to... This is a perfect time to say something. Zane Powers, any thoughts on this year's Grammys? Cheers to you. I really didn't watch it. I know so little about what happened. I know they did a lot of Kobe Bryant stuff. I don't really have much to say on Kobe Bryant because I don't know anything about his basketball abilities. I know he won an Oscar for Best Animated Short. I think he was the first African American to win an Oscar for animation, which is distressing because that happened sort of recently. Yeah, I don't, the Billie Eilish song is good, I guess. I don't really have a lot of opinions on it. It didn't seem, I would have gone with Lizzo, frankly. William Ellman has a super chat. Thank you very much. Fun fact, in The Shining, the name of the guy who's performing fellatio in the bear costume is Roger. He is the homosexual lover of Overlook Hotel owner Horace M. Derwent, who is the guy receiving the BJ. I didn't know that. That's an interesting one. I am going to take care of my cat, who is probably waking people up. But thank you for the super chat, William Ellman. And I do have to sort of be... Maybe this is... I'll just have to take a break now, because he's annoying everyone. Annoying me. And I do not like it. And anyway, I will be right back. I'm sorry. I know this is earlier than usual. Yes, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Country Roads Take Me Home. Is he talking about her Transformer collection? Anyway, alright. Sorry about that. I am now back. So, let me just take some water. Okay. So first off, getting back into it. Is Izzy doing a Q&A in the chat? Sort of what it looks like. Thank you for... What is with everyone in the Grammys tonight? I don't really understand why people want to talk about the Grammys. I also watched The Good Place. It was a good ending, I kind of wanted to see what was going on behind the door, but whatever. Alright, so MGM has apparently talked to Netflix and Apple about being bought, basically. It was Buster that was doing that noise. Is basically being talked about being bought because MGM is not going to make their own streaming services. MGM, of course, has the rights to the Rocky franchise, to James Bond, although I don't understand, because Eon sort of owns it. I think the rights to that might be a little weirder. But basically, MGM is in serious talks to be bought by a streaming service, although streaming services have bought in certain libraries and so forth. This would be the first time a streaming service, not Disney, because Disney bought Fox, and that's a whole different thing. If a streaming service bought a studio, that would be different, because would they keep MGM going with film distribution? Would they use that to distribute their own films? Would the theater chains react differently to that? Like, would they not? I can't imagine they wouldn't distribute a James Bond movie. Would James Bond then leave MGM and break their deal? Would, you know, there's like so many variables with that, but it's a really interesting thing that could really have it has a lot of interesting sort of ramifications for what could happen. It hasn't happened yet. Apparently, a lot of people are saying Sony could also be bought by a streaming service, either Apple, Netflix, Disney, what have you. I don't think Disney's going to be buying anyone else because apparently they're having a lot of problem. Oh, yeah, I do need to edit it. Sorry, Izzy. You're right. I totally forgot about it. It's been a crazy summer. Apologies. But if a streaming service is to buy MGM, it could be pretty mind-bogglingly crazy, but I think it would most likely be either Netflix or Amazon or something like that. So that's what's going on with that. Before I get to other things, Will has a super chat. Thank you very much, Will. Sundance News. Evidently, 9 Days has been the most well-received film from the festival this year. You are right. I have heard that. Oh, I don't know, but fairly well-received. Friend said it was the most emotionally heartfelt movie he's seen in forever. Cannot wait to watch. It has been getting very good reviews. I will say that. I don't know about what was the most... Oh, I haven't been charging my computer again because I'm stupid. I think there's been other ones like Promising Young Woman and so forth. I do have a section about Sundance later in the show, and Buster is really being annoying tonight. Okay, so the top choices... Oh, cheers to you all. Thank you very much for the super chat. The top choices apparently to replace the Obi Wan writer is Dave Filoni and Christopher Yaus. Dave Filoni, of course, would be, because who wouldn't you get? Christopher Yaus also wrote many of the... wrote a couple, I think, Mandalorian episodes. We'll see if that happens. It's just the top choices. Dave Filoni's pretty busy with Mandalorian Season 2. I'm sure Christopher Yaus is also busy with things. But that's sort of who they're going with. Kind of seems like they sort of just want the creative team from Mandalorian. I think they should just... Personally, if I was them, I would just say, hey, after you finish Season 2, could you just do this for 4 episodes and then go back to if you're doing a Season 3 or something? I think that would be a good... it would be a good thing. So I'm trying to look at Izzy's answers, but I'll have to read these later. But anyway, so the Uncharted movie that we've been talking about forever. The Uncharted movie that we've been talking about forever and has been losing directors left and right. And I think at one point I read off all the directors, like 7 or 8. Rhythm Section not recommended. Okay, Sinram, that's interesting. But Uncharted, that's been kind of had all sorts of production problems, been in development forever, was originally going to come out in December of 2020, but they're having problems because Tom Holland is supposed to star in Uncharted, but because they're shooting Spider-Man 3 this summer, they didn't think they could meet that date, so they've moved it to March 2021. That was previously the release date of the Masters of the Universe movie, which I noticed a lot of new movie press people were going like, how could they take Master of the Universe off the schedule for Uncharted? It was like, you also reported a couple months ago that Master of the Universe would be going to Netflix. So everyone's been talking about this forever, that most likely it's going to Netflix and not going to be released by Sony. So I don't really understand the controversy, the perceived controversy. I think Buster's going to stop now. Sorry about that, guys. But it's kind of interesting. I'm not trying to like put on a tinfoil hat and like call out people, but it's strange that people are taking this event. I definitely think Master of the Universe is going to Netflix because She-Ra's there. They have 2 He-Man animated shows in development. Unless you got James Wan to direct the He-Man movie, I don't remember who's doing it. Just put it on Netflix. Like it makes sense there. People would watch it. I saw the Master of the Universe live action movie in theaters, so I'm pre-sold. I was going to see it, but is it directed by the guy who did Venom? I forget. It doesn't matter. It should go to Netflix. It's stupid that it was ever going to go to theaters. Anyway, Netflix is apparently going to be changing its advertising. Before you think, this is a quick story, I guess, is their advertising is no longer going to be for individual movies. You're not going to see ads like they did for The Irishman, or they actually also did for Klaus and things like that. They're mainly going to sell the service over the individual movies. It's kind of a different advertising stance, probably because Disney Plus is doing that, and HBO Max will be doing that, and Peacock will be doing that, and they want to compete with them. Although I think it would show more confidence if they didn't do that, but whatever. But that's what they're going to do. It's sort of interesting. We're going to see a lot of ads for just streaming services, but I guarantee you in a year we'll then see movie ads and show ads yet again. So Green Hornet I can't believe this keeps getting remade, but they are seriously going to try to remake Green Hornet again. The Seth Rogen movie wasn't a bomb, but it wasn't like good, so I don't know what they're thinking with that one. Anyway, they're planning on remaking Green Hornet again. I really don't understand Hollywood's fascination with this, because I never hear anyone reference this property, talk about this property. It's like one of these things that everyone's always trying to remake and make a new version of. But like, what's the point of it? Nobody likes like Green Hornet. Like, really? It just whatever. I don't get that one. So Lethal Weapon 5 apparently might actually happen, according to the producer, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Richard Donner, who directed the first 4 Lethal Weapon movies. Apparently are all talking to do it. I think, I sort of, a lot of people said, is the interest there? Should this just go to Netflix? Should they get a younger director? All these things. I don't really want Mel Gibson to be a movie star anymore. I think that's sort of over. But what I would say about Lethal Weapon is I've heard a lot of different takes on like what they should do with the Lethal Weapon franchise. And there's sort of an obvious one that I'm surprised no one's brought up. And Shane Black, like, bring back Shane Black. Have Shane Black write Lethal Weapon 5, which apparently they're going to be called Lethal Finale. Like, bring back Shane Black. He wrote the first 2. He infamously wrote them. I think that would be the best. And even if Richard Donner says he doesn't want to direct it, Shane Black directing it would work. I would be interested in seeing that if you brought Shane Black back. And I'm surprised no one's actually brought that up. And a lot of people already said It's Always Sunny did it. I think they actually said on Twitter, the people on It's Always Sunny brought that up. So Discount Viscount has a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Serious question: Why do they remake old properties that no one living is nostalgic for? Green Hornet, Lone Ranger. What's next? Buck Rogers. Why? I don't know. I don't understand it really. I think they think that there's a property there and there's enough nostalgia. It worked for Tarzan, by the way. Tarzan did well because enough of like an older audience saw Tarzan. I don't think a lot of properties have that in them. I think they see a property, Lone Ranger honestly really happened because Gore Verbinski wanted to make it. And I think he threatened to go to a different studio to make it with Johnny Depp, and Disney balked and was like, no, we can't let that happen. A lot of this time it's certain filmmakers who want to make them. It's not the studios 100%, but I think a lot of this comes from after the success of Batman, instead of going hey, comics are selling millions of copies, let's make an X-Men movie, they went, let's make a movie of the Shadow and stuff. Just like studios who don't fully understand the appeal of comic books and appeal of superheroes, they go to what they remember for that, and it's totally misguided. I think you could do interesting stuff with older properties. Buck Rogers might work. Star Wars is very influenced by stuff like that. But you have to actually know what you're doing for a younger audience. And a lot of these properties don't really think about that and don't seem to really care, which I think is kind of lame. Anyway. So Toy Story 3 in real life came out this week. It looked kind of interesting. I don't think I'd ever really watch one of these, but they spent years and years on it. It is weird that they have real people play Andy, and I didn't realize they did that. I don't think I ever watched the first Toy Story. Did they make a Toy Story 2 in real life? I don't know, but I watched parts of it. It looked very creative. I thought they did a good job. Sophie was actually watching Toy Story 3 today, and I was like, man, Toy Story 3 is a good movie, but I'd much rather watch this than the fan thing. But I appreciate, hey, that they did that. That's cool. The new Wes Anderson movie, The French Dispatch, is coming out on July 24th, 2020, this summer. Wes Anderson is pretty smart about The French Dispatch, about his movies and their release, because he doesn't do the award season thing, because he wants his films to actually make money, which is crazy. I'm actually serious about that. He doesn't release them during award season, and that's why his films are infinitely more profitable, because he's not competing with all these different movies, and it's been a smart move for him. This does not say if it's wide or limited, which is interesting, because most Wes Anderson movies do that. I'm going to assume that this is the limited date, but we'll see, and we'll go from there. But it's apparently starring Timothée Chalamet, which is definitely going to be his big movie this year. Toy Story 3 in real life is the one with real toys, and you don't see their mouths move, weirdly enough, but it's sort of done in like stop motion and stuff like that. So there was a Rick and Morty Super Bowl ad. It's sort of weird because it's just like very Rick and Morty, but it's also an ad for Pringles. It's, I think on Twitter I called it late capitalism, because it is kind of distressing to see, someone just buried with like all these robots demanding Pringles and getting killed, but still advertising Pringles. It's like, disturbing and weird, but it's like still a Pringles ad. And I guess that's like what advertising is in 2020 for the Super Bowl. I don't think I'm going to, anyway. There's also, by the way, a Martin Scorsese Super Bowl ad for Coke. And a lot of people were headlining it saying, like, is this real cinema? I'm like, Martin Scorsese, like, don't call the Marvel movies out and then make a Super Bowl ad for Coca-Cola. Like, I feel like this is the point where the chat's going to go into is this cinema debate, and have at it, because I think Martin Scorsese deserved it. He was going to make a fucking Super Bowl ad. I should have talked about Fast 9. I'm surprised. Anyway, I'll get to that eventually. I should have just brought that up first. I don't know why I didn't. Oh, well. Should I talk about that? Yeah, I'll do a couple other things. So, the Willow TV series, John Kasdan is writing it. He wrote Solo. Not a good sign, but he's Lawrence Kasdan's son, so maybe he can do something interesting with it. They are still really developing it for Disney+. I'm excited. I don't know if anyone else is, but I think that's cool. MoviePass is fully over. The company, whatever it was called, is now officially over. It is seriously not going on anymore. They're completely done, because they've sort of dissolved the company, because they're in total bankruptcy. The bankruptcy that you're just not in business anymore. So MoviePass is now for real over, and that's what's up. So yeah, it's official. MoviePass is really dead. I still think it could come back, but RIP to the the subscription service that really changed the movie industry. I went from MoviePass to Cinemia, back to MoviePass to Regal Unlimited, which I have now, and I think it's good for theaters. I'm glad they disrupted the movie industry and did something different. I just don't think they did it very well the last couple of years. The first couple of years I used their service, they were great, but pour one out to them. I'm now finally going to talk about Fast 9. I should have just been talking about Fast 9. Fast 9, Fast Saga. Alright, thank you, notification. Cheers to you. Alright, I scrolled down to talk about it. I'll go back. So, I'll do that, and then we'll do Dolittle. How about that? And then I'll go back. So the trailer for F9, which is its real title, or Fast 9, as you know, I think I liked one of their tweets, and they kept tweeting at me. So I was like, well, I'm going to use this promotional opportunity to say that I'm totally down with the Fast and Furious franchise, and they love me, apparently, which I think is really lame that they did that. But I like the trailer. It seemed ridiculous. This is the return of Justin Lin, who's really the director who made the Fast and Furious franchise into what it is. I know that Fast and Furious made someone else directed the first one, but Justin Lin did Tokyo Drift 4, Fast 5, and the sixth one, Fast and Furious 6, Furious 6, whatever it's called. And this is his return since 6. I'm happy that he's back. He's really fun with the Fast and Furious films. And the whole thing with John Cena. I don't know how he's Vin Diesel's brother at all. I guess they're related through muscles. I don't know. I don't know how they could be related, but according to them, whatever. So Fast 9 was definitely a trailer. I don't know. It showed the ridiculousness I want from it. Not too ridiculous, but John Cena, I will say, does not have the chemistry of The Rock at all. I still think he will certainly bring it to the franchise. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun with him in it, but I don't think it'll be as much fun as with The Rock. And then, of course, the big talked about moment, and I guess this is a spoiler if you really don't want it spoilered, but Han is back. That makes sense that he's back in the Justin Lin return, because he was a character literally from an independent movie, Better Luck Tomorrow, about like this group of Asian high school students who decide to cheat, help kids cheat on the SATs or something. Anyway, it's a good movie. I haven't seen it since I saw it on video like a long time ago, but because I saw it on video, but it makes sense that he's back. Apparently he hasn't been dead this whole time or something. I'd like them to explain that one, but the Fast and Furious are so ridiculous. Does it like matter? I mean, does it any explanation matter? I'm just glad he's back. I think Gal Gadot should come back. I don't think she's really. Is anyone above Fast and Furious? I mean, Charlize Theron's in them permanently now, I guess. I don't know. These movies make no sense and they're ridiculous. And didn't The Rock, he moved a nuclear missile with his hand? I mean, that would these movies don't care. They just want you to. These are so off into nonsense ridiculousness. Whatever. They don't care. They don't care at all. But they don't really care at all. They're just in their own ridiculous nonsense. But I love the F9 trailer, and I'm really excited for it. John Bouchard asks, another super chat. Thank you very much. Would you ever do a monthly TV show review vote? The thing about that, and sure is a super chat. The thing about that is, TV shows take a long time, and when I did Mighty Mouse, that took me a while to watch all those episodes and take notes and make sure I reviewed everything and get everything, and I still feel like I could have done a better job. So they would all have to be short, and I'm not really a TV I like doing the episodes of The Mandalorian. I've thought about reviewing certain episodes of Batman the Animated Series and so forth, but I don't think I could ever really do that. That'd be too hard. So, but thank you for the super chat. I noticed Nichi Kichu is coming up with Fast and Furious, the next Fast and Furious films. I like that it's also called the Fast Saga. Now it's the Fast Saga, because that's the official timeline, and Hobbs and Shaw is like an alternate thing now. That's apparently why they did that. But it is officially called F9, by the way. But yeah, I like that it's called the Fast Saga. I don't know. Apparently they're rebooting Anaconda, and it's going to be more of like the Meg. So I assume the snake, or the anaconda, will be even bigger. So, I think now that Jennifer Lopez is, with Hustlers and did a great performance, she could do the Jon Voight role from the original. That would be fun. But I'm sure she has better stuff to do. But that could be cool. Fast X. I like that. That should be the 10th one. Good idea, Nichi Kichu. Okay, that's true, Ryan. I have done certain episodes, but I think maybe an episode thing, but I don't think a TV show review. I don't think that would work. I have done some cartoon theories, some theory stuff, but it's harder to write those, Izzy, but I have considered doing more of that, but I guess we'll talk later. But anyway, the other thing. So, Hollywood Reporter did an article going into what happened on the set of Dolittle. It was sort of a mess. It seems like no one really wanted to argue with Robert Downey Jr. It was not a set that was like tumultuous and no one knew what was going on. Apparently everyone got along. The shoot went great. That's the only thing surprising. But, and they even Seth Rogen and Brendan O'Brien, who wrote Neighbors, were involved for a little bit, but they left. And then the people who we knew were involved, like the guy who directed Lego Batman, and then the guy who did Ninja Turtles 2, the newer one, not The Secret of the Ooze, they were involved in reshoots. But the funniest part was, if you heard about Dolittle, the conclusion ends because they changed a lot of stuff around. Like, it was his assistant was originally his son. It was like this father-son thing. All this stuff was going on. But in it, there's a dragon who's really upset, and it's because he is constipated because he has stuff in his butt, and they pull out bagpipes. This is real. And so apparently there was a big debate over what Robert Downey Jr. should take out of the dragon's butt, and they really sat around and debated it. Originally they were going to just have like a big poop that was stuck in there, and and they considered like a bone. They don't go through everything they consider. I would like to see the whiteboard of things they considered for Robert Downey Jr. to take out of the dragon's butt. The dragon was female. I totally forgot the sex of the dragon, so apologies about that. But they did take bagpipes out. Apparently that was Robert Downey Jr.'s idea. He really liked this going into a dragon's butt thing for Dr. Dolittle. And there's literally like, that was the part of the article I found hilarious, that like this was the thing that they sat around and like had it back and forth with for a little bit. Like, it was an actual debate. What should they take out of a dragon's butt? So yeah, I don't know. You in the chat can come up with stuff they should have come up with. I don't know. You know, that's Hollywood for you, I guess. Before I talk about Pee-wee, what's it to it? Oh, so two things that kind of came out here. Time for a call out post. Oh no. There was the Sonic Super Bowl ad, which is a bunch of athletes talking about how fast they were, and then not really knowing what they were talking about, and then realizing it's a Sonic ad. It was cute. It was a little dumb. Clearly the Sonic advertising is really picking up. So there we go. The Big Lebowski spinoff of the Jesus, played by John Turturro, is really happening. It's called the Jesus Rolls. I don't know why you would want a spinoff of that character out of any character in the Big Lebowski. Sorry, my hair keeps getting in my face. It seems like the worst one, frankly. I would not want a spinoff of him, but he's getting one. The trailer looks pretty bad. It looks like someone returning to a character 20 years later because they're sort of desperate. I don't think John Turturro is. I'm surprised he's doing it, and I don't think it's really interesting idea whatsoever. It sounds pretty stupid to me, but there's a trailer of it and him doing the ball thing, and it's like, whatever. I'm not going to see that crap. So this was kind of the big story that I found the weirdest. There was another Hollywood Reporter interview with Paul Rubens, and he talked about his history with Pee Wee Herman, the character, what he's done with it, and he talked about his new Pee Wee script, a darker Pee Wee script that he's been trying to get made for like 10 years, apparently, or 20, since the late 90s when he wrote it. It's called the Pee Wee Herman Story. The thing that most people are talking about is that the Safdie brothers are interested or are in discussion, which is sort of like saying they asked them and they said, we'll think about it. And they said, okay, cool, will you call us back? And they said, maybe. So, you know, that's a discussion. But apparently a super fan of Pee-wee has invested $10 million if they can raise the other, like, I think it's like $5 million or something. Judd Apatow and Netflix, who made the last Pee-wee movie on Netflix, which I actually have not seen, and I've heard is good, weren't interested. This sounds to me probably because he was a little difficult on set, and Apatow found him to be a bit much, and it sounds like Netflix did also, and this darker one didn't sound like it's really something they want. But I wanted to talk about what this script was. It's basically, how he calls it is Valley of the Dolls with Pee-wee, not Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which would be a lot more interesting, frankly, if you ask me. But although that character that's based on Phil Spector would be a good choice if they ever remade Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which they shouldn't because that's a perfect movie. But anyway, check out Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. You should watch Valley of the Dolls, is still good too. So apparently, Pee-wee gets sent to a mental hospital for shock treatment. Which part? Okay, Pee-wee emerges from prison. He's sent to prison, becoming an unlikely yodeling star. Then moves to Hollywood. This is real. And becomes a movie star. Then he develops a severe pill and alcohol addiction that turns him into a monster. Pee-wee gets sent to a mental hospital for shock treatment for his alcoholism. Not a joke. Also, yeah, that's what happens in this. Also, apparently, yeah, this movie sounds like it would never get made, but sounds ridiculous. I think if Tim Burton did it, I would totally see it. If Tim Burton came back and was like, I'm going to do the Pee Wee Herman story, this one, it just sounds bizarre. But he also has apparently talked about, he owns the rights to the character of Pee Wee. He's talked about selling the rights to the character and would include scans of his face, of his whole body. He would scan his whole face so they can do like the kind of weird like CG stuff, and then also give him the scripts and everything he had about the rights of Pee Wee. I will say one of the things about the Pee Wee Herman, the show Pee Wee's Playhouse, is it had all these interesting artists and graphic designers and interesting people working on it that I actually think you know, if he were to do something weird and strange, I bet it would actually be pretty cool. And I've heard good things about the Pee Wee Netflix movie, which I literally never watched. So yeah. We'll see what's going on. We'll see what's going on with that, but it sounds like something that'll never happen in a million years. I'm surprised he was too difficult for Netflix to deal with, because it seems like they just never get upset about stuff like that. I do wonder though with Netflix, because both Scorsese, Alfonso Cuarón, and other major filmmakers who work with them mostly immediately go back to studios right after, and I'm wondering like why that is. Although Noah Baumbach stayed with them, most people don't, and I'm curious why no one's really gone into that, but I'm kind of curious. So there is, what are we going to talk about? Oh, the Thing remake. Oh, okay, I'll talk about this real quick, or two things and then onward. Adam Sandler has signed a new deal with Netflix for 4 more movies. Everyone, since apparently, even though Netflix's numbers don't make any sense anymore, apparently if you watch 2 minutes of the show, it counts as a view, but they still say that people have watched like 2 billion hours of Adam Sandler stuff. I don't know how they figured out those metrics, but they have done really well on Netflix. That makes sense. His films always did really well on home video and home entertainment or whatever. And he's re-upped with Netflix. Everyone keeps bringing up what he said about Uncut Gems, that he would make like one of his worst movies if he didn't get an Oscar nomination. I guess he will now. We'll see if that happens, but he's re-upped with Netflix. There's going to be a One Piece live-action series at Netflix as well. I think this is more to... I don't know who watches these live-action anime remakes that Netflix does, other than, like, me, ironically... Well, you know, to, like, give bad reviews to or something. But I think this is more to do with international audiences, because One Piece is so much bigger elsewhere. I've watched, like, One Piece once. I know nothing about this thing. I just thought it was odd that they were trying to do it, but it seems to me like something they would do to, you know... get that international audience. I don't think they care much about this for America, but it's going to be like 13 episodes, and it's similar to the same company who made the Cowboy Bebop live action remake, which is on hold now that John Cho had his injury. I don't think they started shooting again, but we'll see. Let me take some water. Okay. So this is kind of a weirder story. Onward, if you've seen the trailers for Onward, there's this van, looks like a 70s kind of van with a unicorn on it. Apparently, someone who owns a van that looks very similar to that rented it out to Pixar for what they were told was an event, and then, you know, let them rent it. They thought it was sort of a weird request, but they're like, sure, let them rent it, and then saw the trailer for Onward and was like, hey, what the fuck? Like, you ripped off my van, and then is threatening to sue them. And that seems to be a weird story. Apparently one of the artists who worked on Onwards actually apologized to this woman because they literally just saw the van one day and thought it would work for Onward. And that seemed just bizarre, like, that happened. But then, as this lawsuit is gearing up, it turned out that the van wasn't painted by her. It was painted by a different artist. So she doesn't actually own the copyright. This other person does. And it's actually based on another painting. This is very confusing. It seems like a whole bunch of copyright law nonsense that Pixar just stepped into. I mean, it's just like, did they could have just, I don't know. It's like a 70s van. Did you need a reference for that? I don't understand that. But, but yeah. Okay. How many things do we, the creator is overseeing and wanted this. What? I don't understand that, but thank you for the super chat, Zane Powers. Okay. Let me see where I'm at. not too far. Okay. Batman began shooting. That's a thing. Now I talked about that, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so the Thing remake. I wanted to bring this up because someone asked me about this in the community post I did, and now I forget. So thank you for bringing this up. I apologize. I was going to have your name written down, and it didn't seem to copy for whatever reason, or I just didn't do it, which is probably the real version. But anyway, so there's been two versions of the Thing. The one in the 50s, which is loosely based on it. Slowborn? What? I don't know what that is. What is that? What is Will? I don't know what you're talking about. Did you tell me about this? I don't remember what you're talking about right now. But I just sort of Slowborn. Okay. Did you misspell that? I don't know what that is. Thank you for the super chat, though. But I'm apologies. I didn't. Anyway. Oh, we have finished one Red Bull there. All right. Did you miss? Anyway, thank you for the super chat and the support and everything. I just don't know. I don't remember you telling me about this. Anyway, let me do this thing, and then I'll see if you did. Oh, okay, hold on. Ransam Film says, "Good night, Jim. I have work tomorrow. May good things come to you and your family." Thank you very much, Ransam Film. Have a good night. Pleasant sleep. Thank you for the support and for the super chat. Second Red Bull there. All right, so the Thing remake. So basically, what happened? Oh, he's talking about One Piece creator. I guess, what were you saying? This is really hard to keep up with some of these threads here. Oh, the creator wanted this remake. Okay, I mean, that's good for him. Cheers to you. Thank you. If he wanted it, it doesn't mean it's good necessarily, but if he wanted it, that's cool. All right, so this Thing remake. So there's the 50s one that was loosely based on Who Goes There, which was the original story. And then the Thing, the John Carpenter one, which was more faithful adaptation. Both are great movies, by the way. Some people prefer one or the other. I actually got more into the 50s one for a little bit as a kid and didn't want to see the remake. And then I saw the remake, the John Carpenter one, which isn't really a remake. They're like different versions of the same story. And really like that as well. And I think they're both great. The Mary Elizabeth Winstead one, I just will never see, but it is like a prequel to the John Carpenter one. However, this is different. So we all knew about Who Goes There, but apparently someone was writing a biography on the writer of John W. Campbell and found out that it is based on, there was actually a novel version of Who Goes There called Frozen Hell. They found it in a box of manuscripts that Campbell sent to Harvard University. And it was, so this biographer found it, and now Blumhouse is actually considering remaking The Thing based on this manuscript that no one's ever seen before. So this is like a whole different version of The Thing that no one knew existed apparently until 2018. So this isn't like the other versions, because this is a version none of them would have read. No one even knew about it till 2018. I don't know when this is getting released or anything like that, but it is insanely interesting because when people talk about remakes, they're not like, oh yeah, we actually found more of it and that's what we want to do. So I'm assuming this will be closer to this book, but I hope they release it because I'm curious like what this was going to be. My only fear is that like this was a book, the short story, me on this hair tonight. The short story is better than the book because maybe there's a reason this manuscript was never released, because I know the author like saw both the movies, didn't like the Carpenter one and stuff like that, or was it the direct? I forget what the deal is with that, but point is it's kind of interesting. You never hear that when they make a remake, that they're like, hey, we actually found more of it. So I'm very curious about this and what that remake would do. I think it's going to be cool. I don't remember this tweet you sent me. Hold on. Well, anyway, I will look. You didn't send me this, did you? Sorry, this is Jim looking through the time Will DM'd him this tweet. Oh, yes, you did a while ago. Okay, sorry, I didn't. The first 10 who benefited from the Polish incentive. Oh, that's cool. Sorry, I looked at it a while ago. Apologies, Will. Oh, I didn't like. Oh, now I know why. I didn't like Pandorium quite a bit, so that's. Sorry. I was not a big fan of Pandorium. I made a review of it when it came out, and people got mad at me because I didn't like it. My phone is not on silent, Izzy. It's just on the couch. I have to get up. So yeah. Anyway, before I do that, there was test footage of the Star Wars Underworld show, which was the TV show that George Lucas was trying to make of Star Wars but never did. It was by the Stargate Studios special effects company. It was released. It looked kind of cool. The Underworld show was going to take place in the criminal element and things like that. You kind of get a bit of a plot. It's kind of cool to watch, like the Star Wars show that never was under Lucas, that never happened. But I know people have talked about Star Wars Underground before, or Underworld, sorry, Star Wars Underworld, but this is like as close as we ever see of what it could have been. And there's like a making of. It's sort of kind of interesting that happened. Only a few things, and then I'll talk about Sundance stuff, and then I'll talk about Lamp Life. Thank you, Izzy. That's very nice. All right. So Disney is going to release. It is different from Star Wars Detours in that Star Wars Underworld was never made. This is just test footage. That's as far as it ever got. Just to be clear, Disney is going to actually release the subscriber amount that they have on Tuesday at a earnings call, so we'll actually find that out. So if you've ever wondered like how successful Disney Plus is, well, the company will tell us, and it'll be totally transparent and not not fake those numbers at all. Sorry, I couldn't get through that. Let's see. Oh, there's going to be a Quibi Super Bowl commercial, which will totally explain what Quibi is, and none of us will doubt it anymore. Seth Rogen is working on a killer meme movie. It's sort of like The Ring meets that thing in The Kingsman with the cell phone, but about a meme that like makes you go crazy and kill people and violent if you see this meme. To be honest, a lot of people are against this, but it sounds like a horror movie for the modern age, so I sort of get it. That's fine. There's a new time loop movie from Joe Carnahan and starring Frank Grillo, who keeps reliving the day he dies and keeps fighting people and stuff like that. Sounds cool. I like Frank Grillo. It could be a cool action movie. I hadn't heard of it until today, actually. It sounds pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to talk about some Sundance stuff, and then I will talk about just two other things after that. And I think we'll wrap up hopefully around midnight. All right, so Sundance stuff. First off, and I think not enough people are talking about that, and of course Buster, is like Unfriended but with memes. That I'm sure that's the long line they wanted, Courtney. So Sundance happened. Here's some stuff that I wasn't there, obviously. I've heard a lot of recaps of it, and these are kind of the movies I thought that sounded interesting. We'll see if that happens. I might have to get up in a second if Buster won't shut up, which of course he won't. So Happy Happy Joy Joy, which is a documentary about Ren and Stimpy, premiered at Sundance. I was sort of wondering how they would deal with John Kay, and it seems they were already in development on this documentary before the John Kay allegations came out, although to be honest, everyone knew he was creepy, but I never knew how creepy he really was at that time. But they actually do deal with that, and they talk about Ren and Stimpy and how it's basically the property is ruined because of John Kay, and they can't reboot it and stuff. But I was sort of like, didn't adult party cartoons sort of ruin that? I mean, I think that sort of killed a reboot of Ren and Stimpy. I know people are like always obsessed with like talking about that and like that could have happened, but John Kay, I've heard a lot of people say that, but I'm like, adult party cartoon, like they rebooted it too early. That's what killed it. So anyway, it's supposed to be actually good. A lot of people quite like it because it deals with the legacy of the show and what John K's legacy is now, and how the show probably won't live on as much because of a terrible person that he is. Then Into the Deep, which is another documentary that they're making about someone else who's making these kind of submarines and they're kind of revolutionary things, and then found out that the guy who's doing that actually murdered someone, and they have some footage of the day of talking to him, like hours before he murdered someone, and like him evading it and everything like that, which that sounds really interesting. I don't know who got the distribution for that. There's Zola, which is kind of about two exotic dancers. It sounds like very stylish and ridiculous. It's going to be by A24. Sounds pretty cool to me. I'm down for it. Miss America, which is a documentary about Taylor Swift, which is on Netflix right now. I actually might watch that. I've heard really good things about it. There was Possessor from Joe Cornihan. No, that's not from Joe Cornihan. I don't know why I said that. It's from David Cronenberg's son, who now I forget his first name, but his last name's Cronenberg. It's supposed to be insanely violent, like violent enough people were doubting it could get released at all. But it has a cool premise where someone basically, I think Will mentioned this to me in a thing. So, in Possessor, it's basically this idea that they use this technology. I forget who was playing the person who used this technology, but they go into someone's body, they basically possess them, take out their personality and their control over their body, and they take control of it, and then they go and kill someone, and then they kill themselves, and then the person returns to their original body. And it's Christopher Abbott is the body that they go into, and he's about to get married to someone, and then things don't go according to plan. That sounds really cool to me. There's Palm Springs, which was bought for 17. It's like basically the deal that Birth of a Nation got all those years ago, not the one in 19 not the original Birth of a Nation, the newer one, which got the landmark deal for 17 million. They did 17 million and 69 cents to beat the record, so Birth of a Nation wouldn't be the biggest sale ever in Sundance history, although some people have called foul on that because it was a deal between Neon and Hulu, which would include streaming, with Birth of a Nation was just a distribution deal, which I have to say that's sort of true. But whatever, Palm Springs is a time loop kind of comedy, which I guess now it's almost Groundhog's Day, interestingly enough. And it sounds really cool. It stars Andy Samberg and the woman who played the mother on How I Met Your Mother. Okay, Worth, which is with Michael Keaton, which is about the 9/11 Survivors Fund and everything that happened with that. That sounded interesting a little bit to me. And then Promising Young Woman, which I have to say, so Promising Young Woman, I really like the trailer. I think I've talked about that before. I heard people talk about it. And when that trailer came up, people were like, oh, like Invisible Man, it's like a Me Too horror movie kind of thing. And I heard a lot of people go, I mean, it's not as cool as Invisible Man, but it looks pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, I agree. And then this premiered at Sundance, and suddenly I don't hear anything about Invisible Man, which comes out in like a month. I hear everything about this movie. I think it comes out much after that. And so they completely changed the conversation. Apparently it's interesting and weird and crazy and goes in dimensions we didn't even know about. And I'm very excited for that. It sounds really cool. It sounds really interesting and crazy, and I don't know, disturbing, and people were like, didn't want to tweet about it right away. I heard from a couple people they felt uncomfortable. I was like, oh, sounds interesting. I think that's everything for Netflix. From Sundance. I've said Netflix so many times tonight. So, two things. It looks like 1917 is the Oscar sort of favorite right now. It won the DGA for Best Director for Sam Mendes, and the Cinematographer Award for Roger Deakins, because it looks like the favorite. I still kind of hope Parasite gets it. I know there was that article, Parasite, like the Oscars don't deserve Parasite, basically. Something like that. I should have remembered the phrasing of that, but looks like it's really between 1917 and Parasite, but 1917 is kind of getting the edge there. Before I go into my review of Lamp Life and get into questions, I might need to go to the bathroom because I had a whole Red Bull. I want to talk about Mars Reviews because I'm friends with, I don't know him that well. We did New York Comic Con together. He's in my New York Comic Con video. And I think I was on Pizza Party with him. I don't know if that was before you were on or after. I feel like that just happened. Maybe I'm wrong. Point is Mars Reviews has been having a lot of trouble with his channel. If anyone could retweet the thing that's going to Team YouTube so we can regain that channel. Apparently, I think most of it is backed up and stuff like that. But be cautious of any live stream or anything coming from that channel right now. But please try to support him right now, because it's really hard. He had over 100,000 subs, and he's pretty much lost his channel. It got hacked and lost all of his content on YouTube and all the view counts and everything like that. And I think that's really sad. So let's all support Mars Reeser. You can find the tweets I tweeted. Like, I think Netflix lost a lot of really great content there. I feel really bad for him, and please tweet out support him in some way, because I think he really needs it right now. Thank you for the super chat, John Barton. Netflix also got a Sword Art Online series. I didn't know that, and thank you for the super chat. All right, I think I'll talk about Lamp Life, and then I'll take a very quick break, and then we'll do. All right, let me use the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back, and then we'll do the Lamp Life questions, and then that'll be it. Sorry for all this, but hey, that gives you time to find Mars on Twitter. Try to retweet what's going on. I know Kevin showed support. I showed support. Nolan did. I don't know exactly who all did, but you should as well, and I implore you to, because he was one of the great, I would say, content creators, and it's damn sad that that stuff's not online currently, because I enjoyed watching those reviews, and I think it's unfortunate. So anyway, I called YouTube Netflix. You know, I've said Netflix too many times tonight, and man, Netflix really dominated this one. I don't know. Anyway, I will be right back. 2 more things, and then we're done. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. Someone just... Okay. All right. So, Lamp Life. I'll talk about that, and then we'll move on. So, all right. So Lamp Life premiered on Disney Plus on Friday. Basically what this short is about, it's about Bo Peep and what she did, I guess, between the intro of Toy Story 4 and the rest of Toy Story 4, or you could say between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 4, depending on how you feel about the chronology of the Toy Story films. But I was kind of interested in this because I wanted to see what happened, and I was curious about it, and Sophie loves the Toy Story movies, so I thought it'd be fun. It's about 11 minutes. I thought it was pretty good, but I think one of the things about it was it doesn't really get into everything with the evil doll Christina Hendricks voiced, or the character that Keanu Reeves voiced in Toy Story 4 either, and getting into all that, although they kind of like ride that off by her saying at the end, like, well, that's more or less what happened. So I think they're loosely doing that sort of thing. I actually thought it was a lot of fun because they kind of can do, you know, various different things, and showing her journey of like going from, you know, being a kid's lamp to an adult's lamp to going through different locations, and that was actually quite fun. I've watched it actually twice, but I thought it's one of the, I wouldn't say it's maybe like one of the best like side Toy Story things. I think I like the Halloween special. That's probably my favorite, but this was fun. It was kind of, you know, a little I would say it's Duke Kaboom, sorry, and Gabby. it does talk about Mike Mozart's involvement. In fact, that's like 5 minutes of it. So it was basically like a tribute to Mike Mozart. I did like it. I find it enjoyable, but I don't find it to be like, I think a problem with some of the Disney Plus stuff is it just feels like extra content that they don't really know what to do with, and this sort of felt like that. But I think it was fun. It had fun with the concept of what are we going to do, what happened with Bo Peep, and like kind of giving it sort of more of a backstory to it and giving her a little bit of agency. But I don't think it really got into the whole, you're supposed to understand in Toy Story 4 that the Gabby thing had, was like kind of hurt, imprisoning her and so forth. And that they kind of like went through that really quickly, and they kind of are a little more loose about it. But I kind of feel like maybe as a character, she didn't really want to get into it. So it's honestly probably, if we're going through, if we're really going through it, it's probably like she doesn't want to get into it, so her perspective is presented to him is what the film really is. So of course it's like that. But it's fun. If you're a Toy Story fan, I would say definitely go see it. It is probably, I guess, maybe on the topper tier because I've seen most of the shorts and holiday special type of Toy Story things that are on Disney Plus. But I don't necessarily think it is essential. I just think I don't necessarily think it's essential. I just think it's like a fun little short that if you really want to see more Bo Peep content, it is there for you. And I think it supplies that, and that's what it was supposed to do. But I don't see like them really putting that much energy and effort into doing this beyond like actually having Tom Hanks there and actually having the actual voice of Bo Peep and all the voice cast really there, stuff like that. But they're not really putting the full creative energy. They're kind of just having some fun with it. And that's kind of the vibe of Toy Story 4. It's like they're having a little fun with it. It's fun. We had a good time, but I don't necessarily think it is anything you should seek out unless you're a real Toy Story fan, I guess. Ryan's watch every Toy Story. I feel like that's something you would do. That sounds very Ryan to me. All right, so I have a Patreon question, and then we'll just do regular questions. And yeah, since I read Will's earlier, and sorry, Will, I forgot about the DM you sent me. Apologies for that. And I'm just not a fan of Pandorium. I think that's probably why I didn't remember it. Anyway, so apologies for that. But anyway, so Sinram, whose channel you should definitely check out. It's really cool. Said the following. Are you familiar with these new laws about YouTube videos that are made for kids? Not directly film related perhaps, but I discovered something weird. If a video has been designated by made for kids, then it cannot be added to playlists. Came across an Animaniacs clip where this was the case. It seems that some of the Star Wars trailers were designated non-playlistable, even though those movies are PG-13. Though I checked recently, and that's no longer the case with the Star Wars previews, but I'm curious as to why YouTube preventing users from adding cartoons to their own playlists is helping anything. I would agree with that, but I think just sort of how it is, unfortunately, right now with YouTube. I don't think, it doesn't seem too many people I know really got hit by that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But that does seem a little weird. Like, you can't even add it to playlists. Like, I don't think that's like, it's not like that video when you find it will get to the rest of the playlist. Like, maybe that makes it more searchable, because I know if you are for kids, like, it really restricts it. And I guess that's one of the added restrictions, but I guess that's what they're doing. Anyway. All right. So, yeah, let me just answer questions. I'll start with Zane Powers. I think he was the first person to write questions. Zane Powers, question, sorry. Thoughts on people trying to get Fox to cancel TMZ for reporting on Kobe's death 4 hours before an official police report was made. I've heard actually some reporters talk about the TMZ thing, and I don't think Fox would cancel it. It's syndicated, so it'd actually be based on each of the Fox stations, not Fox as a whole. And I don't think it's just on certain Foxes, so it might not even be Fox necessarily. So I don't think that would even work. But what TMZ apparently did is they had that information for an hour to an hour and a half. They were told that Kobe Bryant's wife or family had been contacted, and they waited a little bit after that and then released it, to my understanding. A lot of reporters were like, well, if you have that information and that is your bread and butter, and you have done you hear that the responsibility has been done. An official police report, I mean, it sounds like that was going to take a while. So to me, it sounds like a lot of people don't fully understand the situation. And even people have said, if TMZ, whether she really, was contacted or they were in the process or she found out through TMZ, no one really knows officially. So I think everyone, I know everyone's upset about the Kobe Bryant thing, but I don't necessarily think we should be jumping to those conclusions, because most press people have said, to their understanding, they did wait. They didn't go immediate. They were actually trying to be respectful, and to everyone's understanding, they were, to a certain degree. But if you have that kind of exclusive and you're a news organization at a certain point and you have all the correct information, which they actually did, you have to run with it, unfortunately. And that might not be the greatest thing to say, but that's sort of how news reporting works, is, if you have the most accurate information, you want to be first. You want to have that exclusive. So I know it's heartbreaking, but that's the way it is. But to my understanding, that they respected the family enough to make sure they knew and gave them a little bit of time before blowing the lid off of everything is respectful in my mind. But I'm not really I'm not really a journalist, so I don't know if I might be off on all of this, but I would say in terms of canceling it, that would be, you'd have to call each of the local stations and figure it out from there. Tiny Baby asks, that's an interesting name. Is that a question? Okay. Anyway, who has cooler hair, Jim Jarmusch or David Lynch? I would say Jim Jarmusch. What art books do you own from Next Animation? No, where do you go? Hold on. Oh man, now I'm all lost. What art books do I own? I own the Mad Max Fury Road. I think that's the only one. I don't own a ton of art books. You mean art of books, I assume? I own that one. I just don't get to look at them that much, so I don't own a ton, to be honest with you. So that's why I don't. Will has also said, since I feel I was disrespectful, maybe said, watch Dogs of Berlin, then if you don't like Pandorium, great Netflix crime show. That's why I'm pumped for Slow Burn. Okay, that's cool. Maybe I will at some point. Question, did you see the trailer for Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge? I did not. Please, by the way, if there's a trailer or a news story you want me to talk about, let me know, and I will consider it and add it to the list possibly. So I did not know the trailer had come out. I guess it makes sense that there was one. Bloxy Oxenwinkle, I think that's how you say that. Why doesn't Kevin James do movies anymore? Will Paul Blart make it into the Fast and Furious? I don't think he will, but they're so ridiculous, possibly. He did a movie with Happy Madison for Netflix. I don't necessarily think he's popular enough to continue making movies. So that's probably the long and short of it. But I can see him doing more Netflix movies since he's so chummy with Adam Sandler. Are you going to take your... Question from Courtney, are you going to take your wife out to the Sonic the Hedgehog film for Valentine's Day? No. But I will see Sonic by myself. Did you talk about the glitch text Netflix thing yet? I don't understand what that is. Please explain in later chat to understand that. Adrian Sierra, question, have you properly filed your taxes yet? And does my cat sleep too much? Also, when's Joanna Man? No, maybe, and soon, hopefully. It's on the list. It's more planned than usual. Jordan Cephalo, I think. Do you think the toys in Toy Story have developed a form of group therapy in their toy communities? I mean, that's in the Small Fry one about kind of McDonald's toys. They do have that. So I guess, yes, that is canon. What is your favorite British TV comedy from Not Plausible? Let's say Peep Show. IT Crowd's a favorite. The British Office. I'd say Peep Show, probably. Thanks, Jim. Didn't make any sense. Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't. You're right. Question, are you going to see the Sonic movie opening day? I think I will. I think I'll be seeing it pretty close to that. We'll see how it all shakes out when that happens. Zane Powers, will you either stream or make a video of you doing a tier list? Is this based on your other question? No, although I am going to do, I am going to do Oscar predictions stream on Monday at like 4 of my Oscar predictions. So I will be doing that. That will be the next stream, which will be on Monday at 4. So I should have mentioned that. And it was a bit of a... I was having problems with the streaming wasn't really working, so I got a little discombobulated. But yeah, that... I don't think I'll do a tier list. I will be doing a top 10 list soon, I hope next week. But Oscar predictions will be on Monday. I was going to say that at the end too, but you made me think of that. Not plausible. Why do you drink Red Bull so late? Because today's kind of a long day for me, and I need it to get through this, I guess. Chiefs or 49ers? Are they in the Super Bowl? I guess so. Maybe one of them. 49ers, let's say. I really don't. That's not coming from an educated guess. Courtney, what do you think Creech's Odorama card would smell like? I feel like it would smell like gross. I think that would be what it smells like. Not plausible. What's up with that Johnny Test reboot? I think I recently saw a job posting for it. I don't know. I literally know nothing about Johnny Test, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be something. Question from Jordan Soloflo, I guess, sorry. Besides live-action Disney remakes, what are the worst movie remakes you have seen? Wow. I really didn't like the Let the Right One In remake. I really didn't like that, so I'd say that one. I know people do, but Ryan asks, what is love? I'd say, baby, don't hurt me no more. Austin, do you think Lawrence Fishburne will return for this Dark Pee-wee movie? That's an interesting question. Maybe. I think he would. He's pretty cool about stuff like that. Not plausible. What's all this hubbub about this event happening on Sunday? Some sort of Super Bowl? We'll see. I know the interesting thing is it's happening on Groundhog's Day, which I don't think has ever happened, and they're doing a Groundhog's Day reenactment ad thing, apparently, which they haven't released yet. I'm curious about that, actually. Question from, I do not know how to say your name, sorry, let's say Perlo, because that part I know I can pronounce. How many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? 4. Since you were once young and you did things that you weren't supposed to, like see movies and your parents didn't want you to, how will you react when and if Sophie does that stuff as well? I really wouldn't mind if anyone does that, as long as the intent of it isn't bad. That would be my more problem, to be honest with you. I don't think you could really get away with that as much because my parents were a little more clueless about it, and I would know the intent. I'd probably be a little more liberal on that. So, I guess that's my answer. Nathaniel Fogel, do you have any ideas for a potential film you and other podcast members to riff on for a future pizza party commentary? I guess all the obvious ones, the Channel Awesome, stuff like that. Jaws 4. I would really like to do Jaws 4, I guess. That would be one. Thoughts on the film Soul Man? I passed for White and Big Trouble in Little China. I have not seen Soul Man. I Passed for White I found disgusting and didn't finish. I love Big Trouble in Little China. It's a great movie. I have reviewed it, actually. You can check that out. It's still up. They're all still up. But that one, I did all the John Carpenter reviews, and I have a review of that. It's a great classic movie. It's wonderful. Austin, how do I become cool like you and Izzy? It's impossible, but you can try. Jordan Cloflo, what are your thoughts on The Wizard starring Fred Savage? I remember liking it as a kid. I have not seen it in a long time. What is your less favorite movie tropes from Tyler? I don't know. Probably like when people get like really way too involved in friendships in movies, that kind of annoys me, I guess. Zane Powers, rank the 4 main characters of Aqua Teen Hunger Force from favorite to least favorite. That's not fair. I kind of like them all for like other different reasons. I like Frylock, I like Meatwad, I like Master Shake. I don't know, maybe Master Shake would be last. I can't do the other ones. I would say Meatwad and Frylock are tied, and then Master Shake. That would be one. Now that you've reviewed both seasons of Infinity Train, which do you prefer from Not Plausible? I would say right now, I don't know. I like them both for different reasons, but I'd say book 1 is still my favorite right now. Question. I saw you write this earlier, Ryan, but it is a good one. Who should replace Mel Gibson for Chicken Run 2, and why is it Tom Hardy? I think it should be Tom Hardy. I think that would be cool. I think that'd be a cool Mad Max callback. That would be cool. Question from Austin. Do you still Do you still hang out with Frylock and get him bitches? No, that was just the time at MomoCon, but if he's there this year, maybe we will. That would be cool. Zane Powers, are you in the Fast Gang now? What would you do as a part of it? I would, since I can't really drive, I would just, drink Coronas and be chill with them. And I guess I'd have super, gun powers and be able to fight people good. So I'd do that, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Tyler, favorite actor in a horror movie? Jamie Lee Curtis, Lon Chaney, Toni Collette in Hereditary. I don't know. Those are just three I came up with. Cornbread, fun fact, the Nickelodeon show Glitch Text that was announced a long time ago is finally getting released on Netflix. Just wanted to mention that here, since I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet. Okay, I had heard about that a while. Okay. Zoidberg, Jim, I doubt you remember me, but I watched Degrassi with you at SVA. Oh. Okay. That's interesting. All right, cool. I'm not sure which person you are, but I'm glad to see you here. Thank you for... I'm curious who Zoidberg is now. Whoa. Okay. If you were a supervillain and were aiming to destroy the world, what would your motivation be? I don't know. Probably something about Trump or something. That would be my motivation. I guess, Cornbread, you're talking about the glitch text thing. That's cool. I hope it is good. Izzy asks, what do you think of the IT crowd creators spending so much time on Twitter being transphobic? I think you told me about that before. I don't really like that. And I actually, when I was watching Toy Story 3, I don't like their kind of weird homophobic things about Ken writing like a girl, or like maybe wearing like perceiving, because Barbie was getting the manual wearing high heel shoes. I really don't like that sort of stuff. I haven't seen IT Crowd in a while. I don't think I follow the creator on Twitter, or at least if I do, I'm not around when those tweets go out. I'll have to check that. I will unfollow them immediately. I don't like that at all, and I don't really understand like why him and J.K. Rowling do those sort of things. Like what, I don't know, that they're like so hateful, like they can't stop themselves. It's just like really distressing. I don't know. Sometimes horrible people write a good show, but they're still horrible people. Okay. Sorry, I hope that answers that, Izzy. Sorry, I should not do the thing so much. Well, okay, there's Izzy question. Okay, question. What's the worst villain motivation you've seen in a movie? I don't know. I'm not sure. How are you feeling today? From Demented MK. I am feeling pretty good. Been a long day. Not plausible. Where are you not supposed to put baby? In a corner. I like these easy ones. I would be fine with these. These are fun. Zane Powers, how come you don't like zombie stories that are about survival like you talked about previously? Can't those have interesting theming and cool in their own right? I like zombie stuff if it represents more, because that's what the genre is best at. I was actually thinking about the girl with all the gifts, or the girl with it. Anyway, it was on Amazon. It was on one of my top 10s. I really like that one. And that's about survival. And Dawn of the Dead, the original, is about survival. I just don't like when it's more just like nakedly just a survival thing. It's just not as interesting to me, frankly. Let's see, thoughts. LGBT representation in the Marvel Universe. I would like them to do that and not just be a character they can edit out. I think they should do that. It should have happened by now. What's taking them so long? But it took them this long to make a Black Widow movie, so I don't expect it happening anytime soon, sadly. Zane Powers, how did you get good at improvising, and how do I get better at it? I would say read stuff on comedy, listen to podcasts about comedy, learn jokes. Some of it's just natural timing that you can't necessarily learn, but I would say just like read things about joke format. Think about something that's funny there. Think about, a lot of times a joke is a question and something that you observe that's funny. And think about also what's appropriate. I think about that as well. And also things that make people laugh that doesn't hurt anyone's feelings. I would say that as well. That kind of makes you think about it. Do Never Ending Story 3? I don't know that one. Maybe that's bad. Correct me if I say this. Were you a theater clerk before? I was not. From Jacob's Shelter. Zane Powers, how much could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Yes. Nathaniel Fogel, no, but I don't, they haven't really met, so I don't know. Lauren Jones, thoughts on the Invisible Man trailer? Not sure if part of Dark Universe looks interesting. It is not, but it is Blumhouse's taking charge of those properties. I thought it looked really cool. I'm really excited for it. I love the take on the Invisible Man. It totally changes it. I think it works for like this era. I think it's a really good idea. Hold on. Canadian. That's interesting. Sweetberg, did you tell your identity and I missed it? This is hard during the question part. Question, favorite moment in All in the Family? Sammy Davis Jr. episode. Zane Powers, what's the most cliche thing a movie could do in its opening? Not show its title. That's like only Apocalypse Now did that. No, I understand, Izzy, why you mention it, and you should mention that. And I sort of never really think about the creator, to be honest, and not as like a slight. I know you've told me that before. I just don't think about it. I didn't take it as any sort of offense, but you should mention that because that should be remembered for that person whose name I don't even know, frankly, because if they are doing that, that's pretty horrible. Question, do you remember your reaction to the ending of the movie The Devil Inside? Yes, I do, and that video is still there, and it was, wow, that was a bad movie. Fun fact, yesterday was the anniversary of Monster Trucks releasing in the Philippines. Oh boy. Question from MD Blood, I think this is the last question. You think you're going to keep making more of those Five Fantastic Beasts if the next one flops? I hope they don't. It's awful. It's awful. They're so bad. I really hope they don't. Anyway, so we've gone way over. I think I'm going to end it right there. What would you want them to pull out of a dragon's butt? Maybe Creech. Alright, so I think that's everything. We've gone a little wrong. What's your favorite bagel? Everything bagel, of course. Duh. Alright, so I think that is it for today. Thank you all very much for being here. I put out a lot of videos this week. Try to check them out. Why did it do that? Anyway, sorry about that. So here are things, videos I came out with this week. The reviews of Memorable, which was a segment from last Movie Crap. The movie review vote. Make sure to vote if you have not already. Go to that video right away. Hair Love, which was a segment from the very first Movie Crap. I put pictures over it, which is not my typical review, but I thought it'd be cool because I did want to have a review of Hair Love. Weathering with You, I made a review of that. Finally put out my review of Little Women and 1917. So like a lot of content this week. And I hope to have a Lost Film File be the next one, but the next one on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, of course, will be my Oscar predictions. That will be live streamed, so if you're around, please do that. Thank you all very much for the super chat and for the support and for being as nice as you are. I really thank you for spending your Saturday night with me. It's really cool that you are here. And yeah. All right. I think that's it. I'm tired. Thank you, Izzy, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I hope you guys all have a good night and a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next time. And subscribe if you would like to.